Hey everyone, and welcome to my reading vlog for Life, the Universe and Everything by Douglas Adams. So this is my reading vlog, like I said, for Life of the Universe and Everything by Douglas Adams. This is the third book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, and I'm doing a reading vlog for all of these books. One, because these are really popular classic books and I'd like to record my thoughts on them and share them with you as I read through these, and sort of share my reactions to each thing that goes on, and also to try and sort of keep everything in my head as I read this, because this series is incredibly weird and just sort of all over the place, and I find talking it through kind of helps at points try to keep everything inside of my head straight. And then also because as well we've decided that for the Don't Forget Your Towel Along read along, which is part of why I'm reading these in the first place, we are going to be doing one big wrap up for the entire series in May, when we were due to finish this read along in the first place, just because there isn't that much to go on each of these and we're all getting quite busy, things like this, and it's just going to be easier to do it that way. And I need a way to record my thoughts on each of these books so I can just watch them back before we do the live show, refresh my memory, all of that kind of thing. So that is why I'm doing this reading vlog. So let's get going with the third one and see where this one's going to take us. The last time I was reading this, Arthur Dent and Ford Prefect were stuck millions of years in the past, in I guess the beginning of Earth time, I guess, and let's see what happens from here. I cannot remember where Zeeblebrox is, let alone where Trillian is, probably together, but I know that Arthur and Ford are millions of years in the past, so let's see where this goes and see what bonkers madness chaos happens next. I am 34 pages in and my brain's broken. I think that's a record for this series, but Arthur Dent has been stuck in prehistoric Earth for 7 years now. He has been basically by himself for 4 of those years. Then all of a sudden Ford Prefect comes back again, and there's some kind of eddy in the space-time continuum, and they manage to get on top of a Chesterfield sofa, which transfers them back to like Earth in the future 2 days before it's destroyed, and they land on a cricket pitch where suddenly Slarty Bartfast is in his spaceship, which is not invisible, it's just got a like filter on it so people don't notice it, and he's there for some reason. Meanwhile, then also a whole bunch of robots start playing cricket on the pitch, like they land off a spaceship and get to, like, they come off the ship, they're all dressed in cricket whites and everything, and then they start playing cricket, but the balls explode, and now loads of people are dead. And then the guy who insulted Arthur Dent in the past, who's immortal and is trying to insult every single person, has just come in and told someone else that they're an asshole. What? I swear these books make me feel like my brain has broken somewhere along the way, because they're just so random. They are so random. It's almost like Douglas Adams literally had random thoughts and just went, that'll do, and wrote it in. And there's no sort of like sense of plot or anything making sense. And my brain just cries reading these, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a very, very logical human being, and this level of unlogic is not helping. And like, I don't know why I was hoping that there was going to be some kind of proper like plot reason as to how Arthur Dent got away from like prehistoric Earth, but no, just random crack in time did it. Okay. I have no idea what I'm thinking. I've got no idea what I'm thinking about any of this at the moment. I feel like there was something else I was going to tell you. There's something else I was going to tell you. Yeah, that's what I was going to tell you. Arthur Dent has only been said to be eating rabbit. And this is going to be where my nerdy QI brain comes into it. But Arthur Dent, when he was in the past, seemed to be only eating rabbit. He was having trouble getting like with anything else because he couldn't grow trees, and all the plants he tried to grow died essentially. So he's clearly not been getting any fruit or veg or anything, right? And here's the thing, I've watched too much QI, because I know that if you eat nothing but rabbit. So you eat rabbit breakfast, lunch and dinner, and you eat nothing else. No fruit, no vegetables, no other like type of food whatsoever. You just eat rabbit, you will die, because rabbits don't have as much, like, it's something to do with vitamins or minerals or something, calories. It's something to do with that. And it means that if you eat nothing but rabbit, you will die. So if you eat like some carrots with it, you're fine. But if you eat nothing but rabbit for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and that is the only part of your meal, you will die, because there's not enough nutrients or something. And it sounds like Arthur Dent was eating just rabbit, and I'm like, Arthur Dent would be dead by now if that was the case. But also, it's prehistoric Earth. I'm pretty sure there were no rabbits on prehistoric Earth. I don't know if this is like post-dinosaur, pre-dinosaur, or mammoths, ice age, anything else. I don't know, but I'm just like, why are there rabbits? And also, Arthur Dent should technically be dead now. Like, I know this was written in the 80s and that probably wasn't common knowledge. It's still not common knowledge. It's just the fact that I've watched QI in that moment specifically is a very, very funny moment that sticks in my brain, because, like, people really struggle with that thought throughout that episode, or, like, throughout that bit in the episode. And I've seen it quite a few times, because I've seen every episode of QI at least 3 or 4 times now, because it's always on and it's a good thing to watch. I love watching QI. So these facts kind of stick in my brain. But I'm like, Arthur Dent should be dead. And I know that is a completely and utterly stupid thought to have in a very, very stupid series. But that is where my brain went. Like, Arthur Dent should be dead because he's eaten too much rabbit. And seemingly nothing else. Like, if he was eating other animals as well, fine, fair enough, it would probably have lived. But the fact that it says repeatedly rabbit has made me go, he should be dead by now. And that's what I'm focusing on, because that's the thing I can focus on, because that's the bit that makes sense in my brain compared to the robots coming in and killing people in cricket wides. And other sentences I didn't think I was going to say today. These books are so weird. I'm still not used to them. I have to kind of gear myself up for weirdness every time, and I'm never ready. It's so weird. It's so weird. I need to get used to this, but this is just the most random thing I've ever read. 2 things. One, I really liked in a previous chapter, I can't remember which one it is, but it's talking about screwdrivers, and how screwdrivers in some places are grown and then they get bought, they get left in a dark toolbox until a few years later where they shed their skin and become some weird metal thing that you've got no idea what they're for, and then they get thrown out. Because in my house we have an overabundance of screwdrivers, hammers, crowbars, screws, nails, all other types of like various DIY equipment. We have got the lot of it, and we've got multiples of them, and I swear, like, nails and screws and like nuts and bolts and things just breed in our house. And so that was quite relatable specifically for our house. I don't know about anybody else's, but that definitely felt very true to life. And then also I've just read chapter 11, and I mean, Trillian spoke sooner than she has done in the previous books, because she actually spoke a full maybe 20 pages before she did in the previous one, so slight improvement there. But it's mainly while she's trying to look after Zaphod, so she's still got no agency to herself. She's still not sort of reacting to anything herself properly. She's just trying to look after Zaphod and isn't really doing anything for herself, like I said, until she leaves him. And that is the first thing she does for herself. She leaves him, and then you don't see her again. We just go back to Zaphod's point of view instead, as he is wandering around alone in the ship by himself until the weird robots attack. Now, I'm quite interested in the robots. I'm hoping that means there's going to be an actual storyline to this one, or like there's going to be some sort of overarching idea that this one's now floating around with these robots, but I'm not holding out hope, because none of these books so far have had a plot. So I'm kind of sitting there going, is this actually going to have a plot? Probably not, but we can hope. I don't know. Maybe. Or it could just be something really random that doesn't go anywhere. I shall see in the next, like, 100 pages, I think it is. But I think this one's going a little bit quicker than the previous one, but that's not saying much because the previous one I did find very slow, and we have mostly been following Arthur in this one, not Zaphod, which I do prefer, but now we're on to Zaphod chapters, I think, or are we back to Arthur? We're back to Arthur now, so that's good. I prefer Arthur, so we'll see where this goes from here, but I'm just enjoying this one a little bit more. It's weirder, which I didn't think was possible, but I think I'm enjoying this just that tad bit more because we're not following Zaphod. The weirdness of this continues in the sense that Arthur Dent was kidnapped from the transporter and then was being attacked by Agrajag, I'm guessing that's how you pronounce the name, who has been reincarnated over and over and over and over and over again, and every single time they've died it's been because of Arthur Dent. Somehow by accident, so you've got like the petunias that were in a bowl in the first book that then got dropped on by the whale was this creature. You've also got the rabbit that Arthur Dent skinned and turned into a bag, that's also this creature, and a whole load of other things, and I'm like, okay, interesting. Also interesting about the aliens who have decided that they just want to kill everything, like very intriguing, very interested by that. Why is my phone dinging? Okay then. So that was all very interesting, very intriguing, but at the same time just very the usual sort of what kind of thing. What I am going to say that I am interested in is the aliens that have decided that they want to live in peace and harmony after they've killed everything else in the universe. That is a very interesting plot concept, so I'm really hoping that's going to be sort of expanded upon, but I've literally got like about 65 pages left, so I don't think that's going to properly sort of happen, I don't know, in this book specifically, but very interested by that, to say the least, in terms of what that all means. Hopefully that's not going to be resolved too soon because I'm really interested in that storyline, and I'm just hoping that's going to actually go somewhere, because otherwise I don't see the point of bringing it in there, but I don't see half the point of half the stuff that happens in these books because it's just so random, so we'll see. Either way, I'm kind of hoping that even if it's not fully finished in this one, that we find out more about the killer robots and the aliens that created them, maybe in the next one as well, but somehow I doubt it. We'll see. Either way, intrigued by that, but also slightly confused as well actually by the way that this world works, because obviously you've got all of these like aliens, you've also got like the spaceships and time travel, but also ghosts exist, and so does reincarnation apparently. And it can't be just this species, because the creature who's been reincarnated has been reincarnated as a rabbit, as a newt, as a fly, as a human being, as petunias, as this weird creature thing that they are at this point, as well as multiple different aliens, so I don't know if that's just the role of that specific sentience type, I don't know, but then also ghosts exist, but how do ghosts exist if reincarnation also exists? I'm overthinking this for the Hitchhikers, I know I am, but I'm trying to get my head around that and it's not really working. I'm intrigued by that whole idea, but it's very confusing and I don't know if I like it. I love the idea of like reincarnation and all the rest of it, love that kind of concept, especially in a book, but I don't think this is going to be the book that's going to explore that idea. Thor just turned up and he's flirting with Trillian. Okay. And I mean, they're trying to find like the silver bale to like try and help save the universe, but I'm stuck on the fact that Thor is here. So time travel exists, ghosts exist, Thor exists, and somehow so does reincarnation. Why am I trying to make this into a plot line or like a world that makes sense? Because none of this makes sense. It's all random, and yet I'm trying to find some kind of like thread through it, I guess you could say. I should stop doing that because there's no through route here. There's no like world building that makes sense, that is carefully constructed from what I can tell. I mean, just run with it. I've just got to remember to run with it, but I'm just like, Thor's here. May as well be. may as well be. I must say, I do like the idea of the most gratuitous use of the F-bomb in a serious screenplay. I'm always here for an F-bomb drop in whatever I'm watching, essentially, so I like the idea of that being an award, especially for in a serious screenplay. I'd love to see what that would entail. I now really want to see what that would have been and what the other runners-up were as well, because that sounds like fun to me. Trillian really doesn't have any agency whatsoever in these, because Arthur's just basically gone, Trillian, you're coming with us. And she's like, what if I don't want to? And he's like, no, you're coming with us, and isn't giving her any sort of choice whatsoever with where she wants to go. If she wants to stay with Thor, which, to be fair, who wouldn't want to stay with Thor? He's Thor. I don't know if that's just me and the Marvel fan in me, but he's Thor, I'd stick with him. Or go with a bunch of idiots who don't know what they're doing. So, you know, or possibly because they've got to try and save the universe, maybe try and see if Thor wants to, you know, help with that. Because, I mean, this is a bunch of murderous robots that they're trying to stop. Why not bring along the God of Thunder? Because he'd probably be useful. But no, instead they're going to take Trillian away, leave Thor where he was, and then she's just wandered off in the ship. And it says, Trillian didn't seem to react much one way or the other and wandered off somewhere. She's got no agency whatsoever. She's literally just like, oh yeah, I've just been taken away. I argued for like 2 seconds, like, while still in the party, and now it's fine, and I've just wandered off. Admittedly, she is trying to understand some problems of galactic history, but I guarantee you that the men are going to be the ones that solve the problem, and she's going to have sat there and done nothing. And I'm pretty sure the only reason why Trillian is in this, it was so Douglas Adams could turn around and be like, look, I have a woman in here. I'm not sexist, because there is a woman as part of the team, despite the fact that the woman could be written out entirely and nothing would change. But that's my rant there. This is still very, very sexist. And Trillian needs some agency, and she just does not have any whatsoever, and it really annoys me throughout this, because just because she's a woman does not mean she gets to be passed from pillar to post and dragged along in all of this. And she deserves her own character, she deserves to have her own wants and needs and all the rest of it, and she deserves to do what she wants to do. But instead the men around her are basically just going, no, you're coming with us, and that's it. She's not allowed to have any sort of like choice of our own, and that is really annoying. So I may have just sped through and finished the rest of this book. I was actually wrong. Trillian actually did something in this one and actually had a tiny bit of agency and actually sort of a plotline, in the sense that she was the one who basically tried to sort of, what's the word, like, negotiate peace. That's the word. Negotiate peace with the aliens, with the killer robots. So that was quite interesting, and she's the one who figured it all out. I will say that I did not appreciate, though, Zaphod basically like trying to sort of like treat her like she's a child and calling her a kid and things like this, despite the fact that she is a fully grown woman. So that was a bit annoying, but I did appreciate that Trillian actually had something to do in this one compared to the last two, where she basically did nothing. So that was quite nice. I will say, though, that the whole last bit was just confusing in terms of which aliens had done what. And then also I thought Arthur and Ford Prefect and Trillian were on the Heart of Gold, or the Bistro one ship, watching everything going on with like the unlocking of the dust cloud and everything else. But then Zaphod was on the robot ship and they could see him doing what he was doing, so I was a little bit confused as to where everybody was at that point, won't lie. But that just adds to the chaos of this book, to be honest. I did quite enjoy that last bit as well at Lord's, where obviously Arthur thinks he's about to destroy the world by accident by throwing a, like, basically a bomb in the shape of a cricket ball. That was quite interesting. And that last line was quite good as well, in the sense that you've got the tall green alien coming out to insult him again, and then goes, I've done you before, haven't I? That was quite fun. I did also like the fact as well that Arthur has now left everybody else and he's like, right, no, I'm going to live a life peacefully. That's quite interesting, so I'm interested to see how he's going to end up with everybody again and how this is all going to wrap up in the next one, which is So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, though I do also have the 5th one as well on the library. Can't remember what that one's called, so I'm interested to see how it's all going to wrap up. But overall, this was, as always, intriguing, weird as hell, but sexist, and also I still feel like it was brain breaking in terms of like everything that was going on, in terms of like all the different characters we met, all the alien stuff, who the robots were, all of the rest of that. All of that was very, very confusing in a lot of places and just plain random in a lot of cases as well. So it kind of broke my brain in that sense, trying to make sense of what was going on. I did appreciate though that this one had a overarching plot line in the thinnest sense possible in terms of the robots and the aliens trying to destroy the universe and them trying to stop that. That was quite interesting. I do wish we'd had more of that, but overall it was just another sort of random, fun romp with occasionally funny moments in here as well. And yeah, I think I'm going to give this one 3 stars again because it was enjoyable, but definitely still not my favourite thing. There was definitely things that annoyed me, like the sexism, the lack of like overarching plot and things like this that I do need to kind of get over at this point, but I really struggle with that. So I mean, at the very least, if there had been, like, character development or something, this would have been better, but there's still no real, like, character development there. So, in the sense, it's fun, but it's not my absolute favourite series in the world, and I did still enjoy it, but I had some problems. And that is why I'm going to leave this vlog, because I don't think really there's anything else to say. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me what you thought of this book when you read it. I'd love to know. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a spaceship emoji down below to let me know that you're here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel's comics, as well as to my Etsy and Redbubble store, which sells bookish merch if you're interested in that. And if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time everyone, bye!